I'm going to get a lot of texts and calls, angry and happy about this morning.
The drama, the suspense, folks.
But I just love, I love emotions. Whatever emotions you want to send my way, I am happy to.
That's what I think of when I think of you, Jake. You
Yeah,
loving
right.
emotions. That's my first thing as I would describe. Good morning, I'm Anna Palmer.
And I'm Jake Sherman.
And welcome to the Daily Punch, brought to you by Punchbowl News. It's Monday, October 13th, 2025. Let's get into the mix. Here are your Washington headlines of the day. Number one, day 13 of the government shutdown, and the House has gone AWOL. Number two, we've got some news. The Trump administration is making moves to make sure the Coast Guard gets paid too. And number three, don't mess with billionaires. That is a lesson that modern day campaign politics are being proven out in Republican campaign in Tennessee. All right, Jake, let's get to it. We are on day 13 of the government shutdown. The president is in the Middle East, along with a lot of U.S. political figures. As the movement is happening here, hostages are being returned. Prisoners are expected to be released later today as part of that exchange. But it's a real split screen because as much as the focus is there for the president, he's going to Egypt afterwards. We are nowhere when it comes to getting out of this government shutdown.
Yeah, Donald Trump is right now, it's 4:46 on the East Coast in the morning. And the president of the United States is at the Knesset, the Israeli parliament in Jerusalem, where he'll be. It's an amazingly quick trip, addressing the Knesset, expected to meet with some hostage families. Then we'll fly to Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt, the site of many a peace meetings over the decades between various countries in the Middle East. On CNN, a striking line Caitlin Collins just said, and she's in Tel Aviv, for the first time in over 2 years, Hamas holds no living hostages in its captivity, which is quite the success and quite the statement for October 13th here. But you're right. It is a massive split screen because we are 13 days into a government shutdown. And the point that Brez makes this morning is that the House has given up any pretense of relevancy during this impasse. An institution that voluntarily shuts itself down for weeks in the midst of a huge clash over federal spending isn't playing a real role in governing. And Brez put this, I think...
It's a great top. People should read it this morning.
Better than I could, although I guess I did work on this with him, but he put it better than I could. And this is the point I think that's important to make. And I'm going to get a lot of texts and calls, angry and happy about this morning.
The drama, the suspense, folks.
But I just I love emotions. Whatever emotions you want to send my way, I am happy to.
That's what I think of when I think of you, Jake. You loving emotions. That's my first thing as I would describe.
Okay. The House passed a CR 23 days ago, Anna. And it was fine at first to say, we have passed a CR, the House, and it's their turn.
Yep.
But it is, the situation on the ground has changed. Right. And it doesn't seem like that CR is going to work. I mean, maybe it does. Maybe they fold. But 13 days into this thing, it doesn't look very likely. And Brez makes this point, which has been striking to me, too. Usually during a shutdown, just the mass of people in the Capitol doing nothing, agitating for a deal, brings about a deal.
Sure.
Because it's not...
There's pressure.
Yeah, exactly. There's no pressure because no one's here. No one's in D.C.
Yeah.
So, it's a bizarre dynamic. And, again, I've been trying to put my finger on just why this is such a bizarre shutdown. And it's because of that. And also, Anna, it's like we're just pretending that this isn't a shutdown. Not we, but members of Congress. There's fundraisers. There's people. Trump is in the Middle East, which I'm not faulting him for. I mean, it's a humongous diplomatic achievement that he's just completed in the Middle East. But that's kind of the vibe that I feel. What do you think?
I mean, listen, I would say a couple things. I think you're right. This feels, we've talked a lot about this shutdown feels different. It doesn't feel like the market's kind of, watching with bated breath of what's going to be happening here. To your point, I think people's daily lives, are starting to be impacted, right? You've got thousands of people who are being furloughed. But some of the most direct pain, or if this administration wanted to try to force the government to be reopened, they would have not made it possible for the military to get paid. These kinds of things amp up the pressure. And I understand early on when you're Speaker Mike Johnson. You've got a bunch of members coming into town. They got nothing to do. Often that leads to bad behavior. It often leads to, kind of to your point,
bad political behavior. You don't mean that any
Bev.
members of Congress would be doing anything untoward or
You know,
silly.
It was a lot of time, a lot of
You'll
hours
just
in the
leave it at
day.
that,
That's
huh?
all I'm saying. A lot of hours in the day. So, but I think that Brez makes the bigger point here, which is, I think, really important. This is in a macro moment, but kind of how just in general, the House has gone totally AWOL and isn't doing, the oversight, just and kind of plotting towards the idea that this administration can do whatever it wants and that there's not really a role for government.
Just a stunning remark in the Wall Street Journal by Josh Dawsey today. Inside the White House, top advisors joke that they are ruling Congress with an iron fist. Steve Bannon in that piece, I'm not sure if it's a direct quote or it's Josh paraphrasing things he has said. Steve Bannon said it's like the Russian parliament, basically rubber stamping everything that Vladimir Putin wants. So that's a stunning thing to say. Yeah, so I think that's where we are, Anna, and I'm not sure. Listen, there is pressure building to bring Congress back, but it's still small pockets. It's not a big movement.
We will be watching it very closely this week. All right, let's go on to the number 2 story of the morning. Jake, we've got some news. President Donald Trump plans to pay U.S. Coast Guard personnel, along with other members of the armed forces during the government shutdown, even though the Maritime Security Branch doesn't fall under the Pentagon's purview. This is big news in another way that the administration is doing things differently this time around compared to historic shutdowns.
Yeah, and I think the point you made in the top here is most operative, which is these kinds of things are typically pain points. And so the administration is removing one of those pain points, many of those pain points. The White House doesn't like that when we say, and I don't really care what they like, but I'm just letting you know because it's out of fairness, they don't like that this could result in a longer shutdown. They say they are making the smart decision, the responsible decision to pay people, even though Democrats, in their estimation, are being irresponsible. But listen, it's just a fact of life. If you are taking away the pain from a shutdown, you are going to incentivize the other side to not come to the table. If you truly believe, and I think Republicans do truly believe that this is Democrats' fault. So I don't mean to say that they don't believe that. But if you believe that this is Democrats' fault, then it would be painful to not pay troops and not pay Coast Guard service members. So anyway.
But it's taking another sense of urgency of members of Congress going to the Senate floor, going to the House floor to say, we're going to pass a standalone bill to cover troop salaries. That would have had to happen today to ensure that, you're right. You have 1.3 million active duty troops, National Guard members, reservists, and Coast Guard personnel. We're going to be missing a paycheck. And now the Trump administration is doing yet again another end around Congress by just taking matters into their own hands.
That's right.
All right, let's go to the number 3 story of the morning. A really interesting item here by you, one Jake Sherman. Here's a good lesson, you write. In modern day GOP politics, don't mess with mega billionaires.
I wish I had added up how much Ken Griffin and Paul Singer are worth before doing this item, but they're
just like
two of
you.
the
I
richest.
think it's just like you, right? It's your same.
Well, I'm a billionaire, but not a mega billionaire. That's
a distinction.
That's the distinction, right? Exactly. Which is why I'm up at 4:00 in the morning doing podcasts and newsletters.
Yeah.
No, listen. House Freedom Action, the political arm associated with the Freedom Caucus, has started running ads and a post on X accusing Ken Griffin and Paul Singer of Elliott Management of spending money to defeat Jody Barrett. The only problem was Griffin and Singer weren't involved, but then they got involved. So I think it's really interesting. I think, trying to make Ken Griffin and Paul Singer boogeymen is, I'm not sure anyone, if you, they are two of the most important figures in political spending today. Let me just be clear about that. I don't think they're at the level of where the Koch brothers were back in 2012 or whatever that election was. Yeah, 2012 with Obama and Mitt Romney. But I think this is very interesting. I don't think that like Ken Griffin and Paul Singer turned this race, but they dropped a PAC that they're involved with dropped $300,000 into the race. $300,000 for these guys is like me buying you a Diet Coke or like a bag of chips, Anna. Like it's just not. This is not real money for somebody like that. So I thought that was very interesting.
Super interesting. And I agree with you. I mean, the idea the Koch brothers were they had kind of been put into this upper echelon of political figures and boogeymen.
Yeah.
And I don't know that the average person on the street
No.
knows who Ken Griffin or Paul Singer
No.
are.
No
One
idea.
quick thing, a point of privilege, Jake. I'm going to Pittsburgh. I'm going to be there
Wow.
tomorrow morning with Senator McCormick.
Get one of those Primanti Brothers sandwiches. Sorry, I interrupted you, but
Okay.
get one of those sandwiches.
I might have to. I don't know what that is, but I'm going to do some research. Anyway, if you can't make it to Pittsburgh to watch that conversation, I encourage you to stream it online. Go to our events page at punchbowl.news. It's going to be a fun event, and looking forward to getting out in the country with Washington at a standstill. With that, thank you so much for listening. We appreciate it. If you like the Daily Punch, share it on social media. Tell your friends. It's the best way for folks to find out about us. Have a great day and stay safe, everybody.